This is Amy Chan from CakeDecoratingSchool.com, and if you like cake decorating, you're in the right place. Thanks for checking out one of our past live sessions. If you had fun and enjoyed it, we'll hope you tune in for one of our future lives. And remember, if you're one of our paid members, you can watch these and all the rest of them anytime on your platform. So I'm going to move this aside and get this little guy out here. And so what we're doing today, is we're making these nice little ombre fade cupcakes. They're kind of a companion project for our January class for the school. And I just wanted to touch lightly on some kind of basic airbrushing. So it's basically for covering wide, big surfaces, or if you're doing a little spray effect on some cupcakes for an order. It's easy. We're just going to use a canned product since I can't really use the compressor on the airbrusher while I'm doing one of these because it is really, really loud, but also because that's expensive, right? So if you're just getting into cake decorating, you don't know if you might be good at or like airbrushing, getting some of the canned sprays are not only a good backup, just for when you have a color go wrong or a little mini thing that you need to fix. I keep these in stock in some of my metallics sometimes just to take out with me when I'm doing deliveries, when we used to do those, just for quick fixes. And it's a nice way to get a nice little ombre fade on the top of cupcakes, right? So I'm going to put this aside and we'll go ahead and get started, right? So I'm going to pull over a plain cupcake. I have my bag. It's got a number 806 on it. You could use a number 808 as well. It's just a large, round, plain tip. I've got my American style buttercream in it, and I'm gonna pipe on the top of the cupcake. And I wanna get a nice mound, right, or dot shape. So when I pipe, right, I'm gonna take the tip and lift it up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch off the surface of the cupcake, right? So easier to pipe when you're going straight up and down. So I'm up off the surface. Got nice, soft buttercream. I'm going to give it a steady, even squeeze. Ooh, it hardened just a little bit in the bag. I'm going to scrape this off and do it over again, right? So let me get another one and soften this up a little bit. So one thing about the time of year here is it is winter, so things get firm really fast. And you can see what it did where it cracked. That's from the buttercream getting firm inside the tip. So let's see if it goes a little better on this one, right? So mistakes are okay. They happen to all of us. Well, so a little better, right? Not perfect, but if it's not too firm and cold, the general effect will be this. So I'm going to put that guy to the side because they're apparently not going to behave today for me. And we'll talk about this, right? I'm going to take just a little bit of my dark pink color, right? I have some in a bag, and I'm just going to take a little paintbrush, and I've had these little cupcakes in the fridge for just a few minutes, right? And I'm just going to dab a little on one side because my color is a bright kind of electric pink that's going to come out of that spray can. It's not going to give me the best gradient unless I help it along just a little bit. And you can even, right, then take a little bit of my second color that I used on my rosettes and tap that in on the top, and that'll help give you a little blend. And if the surface of the frosting is firm, that'll make it go on nice and easy, and you can just take some warm buttercream and do that, right? So for my spray, I always give my can a little shake, right? Put down something to spray on top of. In this case, it's just going to be a little paper towel. If I'm doing these for an actual order, I line them up in the boxes and then I actually just spray directly inside the boxes. Just because it's a little easier, a little less mess. So you want to give it a nice good shake, make sure the color's going to come out nice and even, right? So you can see, get a nice diffuse spray. You want to hold back a couple of inches. You want good solid coverage. If you get too close, it's hard to see on here because it won't behave the same as buttercream. But you'll actually get a buildup and you'll get splattering and kind of droplet-like looking features to the color where it'll bead together. So you want to hold it back far enough that you get nice diffuse coverage without starting to get that little kind of beading that happens. And when you spray, you want to start past the product, and I'm totally going to spray my hand in this case. I'm going to pretend like it's for your benefit because you want to start beyond the product and go across. So you get nice coverage, right? Like that, right? So that way you don't get the start and the stop, on the product, right? Because you'll get that kind of extra buildup and bead where you're starting your motion, right? So you always want to go atop and across, right? Bigger than what you're actually spraying on so that you don't get those start and stops and those kind of buildups of color. And you can actually let these sit for a bit because you can't smell it, but I can. The aerosol in it has kind of like a sweet smell. And as that evaporates, the alcohol, right, in the product that's used as a repellent, it dries and leaves the color on the surface. So if you let it sit for a few minutes, it'll actually set the color up, and you can go over and do successive layers if you want to build up the color and make it darker, right? So I have some from, well, yesterday that I prepared, right? So make sure that's coming out nicely and go like that. And you can see I can add on a second layer of color and get a darker coverage to it. So sometimes it just takes a little time, a little practice, a little waiting, but you can make a nice ombre fade for yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my hand now because it's nice and pink and matches the cupcakes. And then I'll pipe some little details on these and I'll add a few little decorations just to give them a little bit of contrast. Ooh, everything's gonna be pink today. It's gonna be a great day, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and set these up, and you can see I've got a nice little fade going. I made some magenta that I have in a bag with a 21 and some light pink that I have a bag with 16. So these are both star tips, right? And they're just gonna give you different sized stars. So I'm just gonna kind of make a little crescent design, and I'm gonna pop on some little extra decorations that I made out of white chocolate for just a little detail. So just so everyone can see, right? That's the size of my little 16, right? And this is my 21. So they're just two star tips, different sizes, right? I'm gonna pull these over, and you don't have to do anything specific. I just like the idea of it being kind of half on the dark area and half off, right? So I'm gonna start down there, do a few light ones, and go in between and do some that are dark. And if I get too much dark, I can go back, add some light. But for me, this just gives this one just a little bit of extra pizzazz, and then it kind of goes with the project we did for January. And I have some cute little modeling chocolate kind of geometric triangles, and I just went ahead and popped those in there. Right, so when I was making my cake, I went ahead and made extra decorations so that I would have something to do a little companion project with. And a lot of the projects for our school, right, are geared towards smaller cakes, so 6-inch rounds, so you don't have to buy a lot of pans and you're not practicing on something too large. But if you actually wanted to use them for an event, I like to do little companion things so that if you want to do just a 6-inch cake so it's easy to carry and transport, you can make cupcakes to go with it if you end up having a larger party or more people you have to serve. So it's a fun little thing to go with our January project, and it's a great way to effectively and simply achieve an ombre effect without too much work. And it's something that most people can use a little spray can, right? So it's pretty much something that anyone can do.
If you enjoyed this video and you'd like more about the cake decorating materials and equipment we use, or just some inspirational videos about cake decorating itself, you can follow us on Insta or YouTube at Cake Decorating School. If you'd like to know more about yearly membership and what it entails, you can go to www.cakedecoratingschool.com for more information. And if you're interested in these products, you can check the links in the description.